The US has withdrawn its deployed troops from the Middle East. The nuclear peace talks between the US and Iran now seem to be collapsing. President Trump has stated that Iran has made demands from the US that it simply cannot fulfill. As of now, those specific demands have not been made public. Meanwhile, the US has started deploying a large number of anti-drone air defense systems to the Middle East. In the next part of this video, we'll discuss, based on available evidence, why the US suddenly asked the families of deployed American troops and diplomats in the Middle East to return home, and why the anti-drone air defense systems, which were originally meant for Ukraine, have suddenly been redirected to the Middle East. Is a war between the US and Iran about to begin? Is the US preparing to strike Iran's nuclear sites? This video will present an analysis of those questions. The US had demanded that Iran stop enriching uranium. In response, Iran stated that it has no plans to enrich uranium to weapons-grade levels or to build a nuclear bomb. However, Iran also made it clear that it will not stop enriching uranium altogether. The US Embassy in Iraq issued a notice stating that American citizens, diplomats, their families, and embassy staff can relocate to safer locations for their protection. You can refer to Reuters reports for details. The notice also mentioned that the families of US troops stationed at military bases in the Middle East, such as those in Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, should also move to safe locations. However, the military troops themselves will not be relocated. This notice seems to indicate that the US may be preparing to launch a strike against Iran. In retaliation, Iran could target US military bases in the Middle East, and in my view, those bases would likely be Iran's first targets. The US has also sent a message to the United Kingdom's Royal Navy, which operates in the Persian Gulf and Red Sea, warning them that military escalation or conflict could occur in the region, and that they should remain prepared. Additionally, the US has put its military bases in Iraq on alert, especially those located in the Kurdish region, which is rich in oil, and in Anbar province. These bases have reportedly been instructed to be ready for potential conflict. All of this has been reported by Reuters. The US Fifth Fleet, stationed in the Persian Gulf, has also been instructed to secure maritime routes and ensure that sea lines of communication in the region remain open and protected. This responsibility has been clearly assigned to them. According to reports by Reuters and The Guardian, Iran's defense minister Aziz Nasirzadeh has issued a strong warning to the United States. He stated that if nuclear negotiations collapse and a conflict is imposed on Iran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps will strike all US military bases located in host countries across the region. Speaking on June 11, 2025, he made it clear that Iran considers these bases to be within its strike range and that Tehran would not hesitate to attack them if a military confrontation arises. By making this statement, the Iranian defense minister was essentially sending a message to Middle Eastern countries: put pressure on the US to avoid launching an attack on Iran. Otherwise, Iran would retaliate by targeting American bases in the Middle East, dragging the entire region into the flames of war. The biggest confirmation of a possible US attack on Iran has come from Ukrainian President Zelensky, who said that 20,000 anti-drone missiles that were supposed to go to Ukraine have been sent to the Middle East due to an emergency situation. From President Zelensky's statement, it is clearly evident that the nuclear talks between the US and Iran have failed, and the US is going to launch a major attack on Iran. On the other hand, Iran has also made its preparations. 2 days ago, I made a video where I mentioned that China is supplying Iran with ballistic missiles or components to manufacture ballistic missiles in large quantities. This article is from the Wall Street Journal, stating that China is providing Iran with a large number of components to manufacture ballistic missiles. This means that Iran is preparing itself, as the US could attack at any moment. And as for Israel, it's already known that it has been continuously trying to convince the US to launch an attack on Iran and destroy its nuclear facilities. So, friends, looking at the ground situation, it seems that clashes between the US and Iran are about to happen. We have presented a neutral and fact-based analysis to you with proof. Do share your opinion in the comments. That's all for today's update. Please subscribe and like this video.